You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex 45. And this evening we got Sir John Hampton in the building on the show. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I appreciate you for having me.
No doubt, man. Always nice to connect with people and learn how they got into riding and racing and stuff like that. From your social media, it looks like you're doing a little bit of that as well, or maybe a lot. And we'll find that out. So, which is pretty dope. So yeah, let's talk about how you got into the bike scene and getting on your first bike. For me, it was later in life. So for some folks, they get on really early. So what was your first thought of like, yeah, I want to ride a bike one day?
Man, first thoughts. I was honestly, I think I was like a freshman in high school. One of my mom's friends, her husband had a motorcycle. It was an R6, I believe it's like a '99 R6. It was like custom white pearl with red metallic and the old school Micron exhaust on it. And she took me on a bike ride. Told me to get on the back, so I backpacked, and she gave me a ride, and from that moment on, I was like, oh, "This is life. Like, I want to ride bikes." Of
Yeah.
course, my parents they weren't with it. They was like, "Nah, like you're not doing that." Oh, I asked for little pocket rockets. Ever since I was a kid, I always asked for a mini motorcycle,
Yeah.
and they just weren't having it. So I didn't get my own bike until shoot, I want to say maybe 21. About 21 maybe. Went out, bought a 50th anniversary R1 for my first bike
Oh
ever.
wow. Okay.
um, And from that moment on, it was with it. A little street hooligans back in the day though, man. I was a street hooligan.
Yeah.
It's
So I
pretty
mean,
bad.
and so did you like ride on anybody's bike before that? I know you got you rode on the back of one, but did you on you ride a bike at all before you got the R1?
I mean, she would like when she was in state, so she's military, so she'll let me like ride around in her backyard.
Okay.
And then after I got comfortable, she'd let me ride through her neighborhood. But it was a really big gap. My brother, he ended up buying an R6. But he came back from deployment, and he let me ride it through the neighborhood. But I was still in high school.
Right,
So it
right,
was at
right.
least like a three to 4 year gap between riding air bikes in the neighborhood compared to getting my own.
Right, right,
And
right.
yeah, I just
So
went for it.
yeah, so like, what was it like riding their bike in the neighborhood and stuff like that? I mean, you're pretty young, so you're probably a little more fearless than fearful at that age. So what was it like? I mean, were you a little bit nervous, or you were ready?
Nah, I was definitely nervous because I knew at the time I ain't had the money to fix nothing. So like I didn't want to wreck it, I didn't want to scratch it. So I knew
Mhm.
off rip. Like I was definitely nervous. But it was fun. Like, they made it fun for me. Like really just coaching, great, just like little fun tips just to like, hey, don't worry about the stuff. They taught me the little catwalk trick.
Mhm.
Basically just keep your feet down and you try to pull your feet up and just kind of walk the bike around. So it's real elementary fundamental skills that helped me get comfortable at that stage.
Yep.
So like took to that. And for me, it was still fun though. They were heavy. I mean, I was a little kid in high school, so bikes were huge back then.
Yeah, I feel you. I was the same way, man. I was small. I'm still small, but yeah. I mean, I don't like bikes over 480 pounds.
They're
so
tough.
so yeah. So okay. So you got I refresh my memory. What year is the anniversary? The 50th anniversary Yamaha, and what was that like for you? When you first took it out on the road.
Man, it was the I believe it's the '05 R1. And honestly, when I picked it up from the guy's house, it was just like it felt like I've been riding my whole life. Like I
Okay.
literally jumped on it and just whacked it. Like, well, at the moment, what I thought was whacking it, and
Yeah.
just peeled out on it, and I
Yeah.
got super comfortable real fast. But like I said, it was honestly looking back at it, it was no skill. It was all just young, no intimidation, no fear.
Yeah.
Um,
Making it up as you're going along.
Oh man, it was bad. I think I picked it up in cargo shorts and a tank top, and just it just was like full throttling it. Or at least again at the moment thought I was full
Yeah.
throttling it.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I fell in love with it, and again at that moment I was like, yeah, bikes are it. This is life. This is what I want to do. I want to work on them. I want to ride them. I want
Okay.
to go to drag strips, and I want to do all the stuff with them. So that's literally when I start changing and making my life like all about power sports.
Okay, okay. So and so you got your first bike and you're riding on the streets. Did it, at some point did you decide to get gear, or did that happen like later when you started going to the track and so what was the first like year or two like on the R1?
Nah, honestly, I didn't get gear for a long time. So I got the R1. I want to say maybe 2000, maybe to 12,
Okay.
13, 12ish maybe. Um, I joined a local bike club back home in North Carolina. Real just low key, but just good riding. They always took us out to ride and everything like that. So all I did was learn about gauntlet gloves and boots. I
Right,
still
right,
had no
right.
jacket, no pants. Um, and so I didn't start wearing gear honestly about till 4 years later. I actually took a job in Hawaii, so
Okay.
I moved to Hawaii and I was out there for 3 years. And even out there, I didn't ride in gear, and it wasn't like I was against it. I just really didn't know.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
so I actually stumbled across my first MotoGP race when I was in Hawaii, like watching it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
when I
Okay.
started to learn about like gear and like jackets and suits and two-piece suits and single suits and started looking into actual like what gear is and the qualities and the levels.
Right,
Oh, so
right, right.
I bought, I'll say my first time actually real gear was maybe 2016, 17. So I
Okay.
rode for
Like
a
3 years.
while,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So what was the scene like for you in North Carolina? And what was that like in the street riding?
Street riding was cool, man. North Carolina was good. Place as home. I grew up there. So for me, I just got to meet a lot of down to earth people that like to ride. So it was just a lot of actual hanging out, a lot of charity rides, a lot of cookouts, and after I got into the MC life, there's a lot of club events.
Hmm.
Socializing. And then you got the second part that I found out afterwards, which you go hit the back roads and line them up and go shoot them down. You're running your quarter mile set up on the back country roads and stuff like that. So it was fun. Like I
Okay.
said, I was a young, fearless guy. So for me, it was the thrill. The thrill
Yeah,
got me. And then the camaraderie of like people, actually looking out for each other and we're
yeah,
checking on each other when their parents are sick or they got something going on. So it was real cool.
yeah. I didn't do that much street riding when I started. I mean, I ride the streets a lot, but I didn't join a club. I was older, and I had some friends that ride, and they the one that got me into to racing. But I also used to
Mhm.
go out with them on like on a Saturday or Sunday, and they'll leave like 7 in the morning and come back at 7 at night, and probably do like 300 miles. Just riding. I grew up in Boston, but we ride out to like Vermont, New Hampshire, the back roads where there's not a lot of cars, and the same thing. Just have some fun, going through some twisties. And stuff like that. So the camaraderie part I didn't see until I got to the track. Like,
Mhm.
as I mean, my friends, we were like 6, 7 of us running, right when we go riding and stuff like that. But like, where it's like, 30 plus people, that kind of thing. I didn't see that when I got to the track. So that's pretty cool that you got to see that. And did you like, did you do a lot of mods on the bike early? And how quickly did you move on to your next bike?
Nah, man, my R1 actually I didn't touch it. I
Okay.
think all I did was took the cans off of it to
Yeah.
make it a straight pipe. Again, I
Yeah.
was young.
Yeah.
Um, so I did that, but I left it alone. I rode that all the way up until I took the job in Hawaii, and I actually sold it to help me transition because I didn't know how everything was gonna be. So I sold it
Hmm.
to I would have funds, and then moved to Hawaii and then end up getting an RC 51 up there. It was bored out,
Yeah.
1100 cc's,
Yeah.
completely done up. And it was bad, still, it was just, I was young still, so it was real hooligan activities. So
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah.
hooligan
So,
activity.
so what was the scene like in Hawaii, and which island did you go to?
Oh, I was on Oahu. So I
Okay.
took a job out there. We're in power sports. So I was a service advisor.
Yeah, yeah.
for a dealership out there. And the bike scene is actually pretty big out there. It's actually pretty big. Small island, but you got a lot of military people, you got a lot of the locals,
Yeah.
and then you got cruisers, you got the baggers, you got the sport bike guys, you got the guys that like to just cruise and look good. Then you have the guys that actually like the cannon carve, and there's this road called Tantless, which they would go ride Tantless and just kind of shred up through there. And
Yeah.
there's another road off of like back near Schofield on the backside and Sandy Shores. And, you just go out there and rip H3 highway. It's just
Yeah.
full pin on the highway, like, cause there's guardrails. So you don't got to worry about cops coming this way because they literally can't get to you. So
Got
you just punch it and zing it one way. So it was the bike scene is actually really surprising out there. I was really surprised when I got there on how much how in depth the scene was out there, and like
That's
actually how fun it was. It
right,
was
right.
pretty cool.
Now, I mean, I'm curious, like, why Hawaii, island out there of all places, to get a power sport job? Because I'm pretty sure there's places here. I mean, obviously, I mean, I can think of just it's a beautiful place, so that's enough of a reason. But like, going from North Carolina.
I mean, I had interviewed, well, I had applied to that job a year before they called me.
Okay.
So I had applied. They called me literally on New Year's Day, asked me if I wanted the job, and I was like, man, like this is exciting. This is a year later, but yeah, I'll take it. And honestly, man, like I just got a couple tickets,
Yeah.
back home on the R1, and I was like, I think it's about time for me to go. Like, and my bike, I think my bike is a wanted bike at this point, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just kind of restart life and hit the restart button.
Okay. That's
So
what's
that
up.
was one of the major deciding factors for me. And I was like, it's an island, it's a big, beautiful island. Well, not big, but it's a beautiful island. I've never been anywhere like that for
Yeah.
myself. So I wanted to experience it and see how it was. In the weather, it's perfect. I never saw a day under 65 degrees. So for the 3 years I was out there, so I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
let's go to Hawaii. Let's see what this is like.
Nice. And so okay, and then is that so you got into MotoGP, so you started watching MotoGP around then. So this is like 2015, 16.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's about the same time. Honestly, I started watching MotoGP as well. And so you're getting into gear, and you're in Hawaii. Were you more leaning towards like the drag strip? It was just kind of trying kind of look into the racetrack thing at that time.
No, so well, at first when I first started riding, I loved the drag strip. It was something about just sending it down the drag strip that I absolutely loved. But honestly, when I got to Hawaii, I started learning about curves because the roads out there are so flowy.
Hmm.
But I wasn't skilled at it. But I got skilled to the people that were around me. So you kind of feel like you're the fast guy.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but there's no tracks out there. So after I started watching MotoGP and stuff like that, I was like, oh man, this stuff is cool. Like I want to try to mimic this stuff and do these things. Um, but I didn't know anything about it. So that was actually one of my deciding factors on leaving Hawaii
Okay.
was I wanted to get into racing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
I
that's cool.
actually moved to Georgia from Hawaii just so I could start racing.
Okay. And so now this is what 2017, and
Yeah, I left Hawaii in 2017. I got to Atlanta.
okay. And so, I'm curious to hear. So, like, you wanted to get into racing. You said, I'll go back to the States. Did you already know about like the club racing scene already at this point? Or it's just kind of
Mm-mm.
like, I just want to get into racing. I'm going back to the States.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I want to get into racing. I go to the States and I figure it out. So after I touched back down, I just started doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
And I found out about WIRA
Yep.
and how they do their stuff. So I actually signed up and did the Ed Bargy Race School. And weekend went great. Then I yard sailed. I rented a bike from Jennings, and
Okay.
it's the last day, and I yard sailed it. I mean, I fuel tank went one way, the front stay went the other way. Like I
Yeah.
felt so bad. But yeah, so figured it out, got into where again, thought I was gonna be the fast guy, like I'm gonna get out there my first race and it did not go as planned. at
Oh
all,
yeah.
at
Yeah,
all.
usually doesn't. Not your first time.
Oh no, man, I was lost. I was so lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to tech properly. I didn't know what transponders were.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know how to ride track. Like, so I didn't understand my pace. We were at Little. Have you ever rode Little Tally in
Yeah.
Alabama?
Yeah. Yep, I went there.
Yeah, so that was my first race. I got lapped there pretty quickly, actually. And like I think I remember because I took screenshots and it's actually saved in my Google to keep me to remind me. My fastest I went that whole day was like a 117,
Oh man, yeah.
which is like now knowing that I can run like a minute flat and almost break a minute is like
Yeah.
that's 17 seconds slower. Like, but that was my first race to finish. Oh,
Yeah.
I got blasted.
So I mean, and I mean, so I like for me it's the same thing. I knew nothing about racing. Like I didn't even know you could do it. So and like
Mhm.
my buddy told me about it, and I was like, I was like, yeah, I'll go racing,
Yeah.
and bought his old SV 650 race bike because he had an R6 he was racing at the time and had nothing. And I was like, all right, I gotta get a suit. So I got a suit over the window, boots and gloves, everything on clearance and stuff like that and showed up same thing. Didn't know nothing about like tech.
Mhm.
I was fortunate that that it was a race bike, so everything was already pre-drilled with safety wire. So, but I knew nothing about that. I had no
Yeah.
tools, no chair. So and it's crazy because there's so much like we don't know, and we see it all the time, and you probably see it now with newer people showing up. It's just so much that we don't know when we decide to go racing. So
Yeah.
um now when you went, did you know anyone that was racing outside of like making the contacts or anything like that? Because I was fortunate that I was able to pit with those guys, so I could, and they were already racing for like 3 years or something like that.
Mhm.
So I could pick their brain and stuff like that. But you just kind of just show up by yourself?
Yeah, I showed up by myself. Granted, I had a friend that went with me, and then actually my national president of the MC I was in. He was lived in Atlanta. So he actually was the one that transported my stuff there. Because again, I was unprepared. All I had was a bike. He had the trailer and the truck, and so he
Right.
actually brought me down there. So, but for myself, I was the brand new kid on the block. I didn't know nobody. I didn't know anything about it. So I got to meet people though. Like that was pretty exciting to it made me feel good, to get there and kind of get to meet people, see people trying to help me out a little bit here and there and kind of
Yeah.
be friendly. It gave me that camaraderie feeling that I had like from the MC world
Hmm.
to the track. So that's another thing that drew me to it. Like, I would think I want to do this again and try again after I pick my ego up off the ground from just losing.
Yeah, that's for me, and I've said this a few times on the show. I mean, I saw in New England, or the closest track to me is New Hampshire Speedway. When I lived in Boston, I live in Florida now, and
Hmm.
my first my like the first session because they do like the penguin school, so you're there all day on a Friday, and your classroom, and then you're on track, classroom on track kind of thing. And my first, like going around the first time, I'm sitting here like, what am I doing out here, man? I'm like, I had no idea bikes are passing me. It's like to think of what a line is or anything or body position or any of that stuff. And yeah, I was scratching my head when I pitted, and I was like, you sure you want to do this kind of thing? And I stuck with it. And by the end of the day, though, I definitely knew I wanted to. But there's a
Yeah,
moment I was questioning myself for sure because you don't know anything.
yeah, yeah. It's tough. Like I took so I did that first race in 17. I didn't race again until 2021.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, yeah. So it was a big gap. I did like in between that time frame, I did maybe a total of 3 track days. So that it really hurt my pride and my ego because
Mm.
again, like I thought I was fast. I thought I liked it. Then I got out there and realized I didn't know nothing. But then it was like, well, give yourself some grace here. You never took the time to learn the sport for what it
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Like, so like you low key, I disrespected the sport by coming in there thinking I was going to be fast. um, so after I was able to understand that, then I started actually doing a little bit more research on like what things are and how to get it going. Then I start preparing myself. About the end of 2020, I literally started setting up to run and do a full season in 21.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and that was
So
my first actual season.
yeah, for me, yeah, I came out in 2013. I did like 2 weekend. I did like I shouldn't say weekend because I did I did the classroom. I did the Saturday session,
Hmm.
and then I went away. I think like the next round I might have came back, and that was it. And the following year I did like same thing. And
Yeah.
so by 2015 it was like okay, um, I want to do this like full time as far as at New Hampshire Speedway is like 7 rounds. So for me,
Okay.
that kind of thing. And the same thing, just trying to just learn as much and trying to prepare. Even my first season, I still there was so much I still didn't know. Like I should be working out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
So okay, so you got your first. You're like, I'm gonna this 2021. I'm gonna do the whole season. I mean, we're just coming off the pandemic, so that's also scheduling was a little bit crazy around that
Hmm.
time as well and stuff like that. When you showed up to the track, do you feel like you were really prepared, or you were still kind of learning some stuff?
I was more physically prepared in 21. It did take me about 3 to 4 rounds to actually find my groove, though.
Okay.
Like honestly, my first 3 rounds, I was still a back marker. We went tally, Roebling, tally,
Yeah.
and it took me about 3 or 4 rounds to find my groove and find my pace. But when I found it, it switched like immediately.
Yep. Yeah.
So it went from being the back marker to now I'm fighting for third place. Now I'm
Right.
fighting for second place. And then like when I won my first race, I didn't even realize I won my first race. Like I came off the track and everyone came around me like celebrating. I'm like, well, what's out? And they're like, dude, you not know what you just did? You just won. I was like,
Mhm.
no way. And they was like, nah, like look at the stuff you won. You won. You just didn't beat the expert guys. But there's like some of the people you were passing were expert people. Like, dude, you won. Like you finished like third overall. And I was like, what?
Oh, that's
That's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
In that moment, it clicked. Like, yeah, I want to do this.
That's
And that's when I was actually able to keep the consistency like that whole year, and I just start pounding, chasing points. Just trying to get familiar, and I actually finished off with 3 regional championships that year. So
nice, nice. Well,
yeah.
I think we had similar years. What bike were you racing? I didn't ask because
Oh
I know you said you sold the R6 and you had the RC51 in Hawaii. But what was your race bike?
yeah.
What I don't know
It
if
was
it
just,
was.
it's the one I have now. So 2020 R1. I had bought a '07 R1 when I was in Hawaii. I shipped it back to try to race it, but I actually blew the motor at the end of 20.
Okay,
So that's when I bought the 2020 R1. And then that's been my race bike since.
that's
So
what's up. That's what's up.
yeah.
Yeah, and was it Wera only? Did you do CCS Azra?
Not just wear only.
Okay, so and you're still just do. I haven't done Weary yet. I was hoping to do it this year, but I think it would probably be next year. I've had my license now for like 3 years with Wera. I just haven't made it. But I did CCS Azra. Last
Okay.
year I did the Pan American Series, and then so this year like I was hoping to do some Wera around, but next year
Yeah.
I'll definitely try to get in there. So you must know Jim. His racing number is 105. He's on a Suzuki 600. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he has the red canopies with the
The
Motul.
black and red. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. So he's the one that. So in 2020, I went to Homestead. I think for the second time
Hmm.
in 2020. I'm trying to think. The end of 2020, we were trying to race. Yeah, because I think we were getting out and going to the racetrack in 2020, and so I think at the end of 2020, Homestead did open, and then so in 21, I did like all the Azure round on the East
Yeah.
Coast. So I did like 21 rounds between Azure CCS and then Loudon, who they were LRRS at the time,
Okay.
and stuff like that. So yeah, so I got to go to Roebling, Daytona, CMP, NC Bike, all these tracks that I've
Yeah.
never been on before, So what was it like for you going to these tracks and learning them, right? Because like you said, you struggled in the beginning, and I assume part of catching your groove is also getting more familiar with these tracks, and what was
Hmm.
that like for you? Checking out new tracks and learning them.
Scary. It's scary. Because they're new. So like some of the stuff is just it's a lot of the tracks are one, it's exciting, it's fast, but then as I'm trying to learn it, I'm also trying to find pace too.
Right.
So what I basically start trying to do is whoever would pass me, I would try to hang on to them for as long as I could to figure out where they're at, where I need to be at, and where I need to make my adjustment. So it was a bunch of sections like that I just had to break down for one understanding. So it'd be whoever passed me, I just latch on to you for as long as
Mhm.
I could, figure out what you're doing. Next person, latch on, next person, latch on. So it's like multiple slingshot toes that helped me learn the track. And then that's how I figured it out. Then it's like, okay, so let's just remember what I did, remember these markers, remember these points.
Yeah.
Okay, let's slowly piece it together, piece it together. Sometimes I do sacrificial races. I sign up for another race that I don't even want to race it, but I just want the seat time.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I do the extra race just so I can get out there and ride the track more. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now I get it. My race is what number? Okay, this race I want to push now. And that's how I started doing a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't know if Wira has any endurance races. I know they have the big endurance race, which is a few rounds.
Hmm.
But like a GTU as far as like or GTO as far as like ASRA CCS, which is usually like 24-minute races.
Yeah.
So I used to
So
sign
I
up for
was,
those just to learn the track. You know what I mean? And doing one of those long rides race.
yeah. I just learned about that. So I was actually going to run Azra this weekend because they're at Road Atlanta right now.
Oh yeah, yep.
But the weather was so unpredictable, and I was like, I know I want to race where next weekend, so I don't want to go out there with unpredictable weather. But I
Right.
was excited because I saw like the GTO. It was
Yep.
like 25 minutes, and I was like,
Yeah.
yo, that's like 13, 14, 15 laps. Like I want to do that. Um, but Weird doesn't. At Road Atlanta, they chop it down to 6 laps.
Okay.
Anywhere else is 8 laps.
Gotcha.
So we really don't get a lot of. I feel like I don't get a lot of time because I'm like a late bloomer. So it takes me like 3 laps to warm up, and then
Yep.
after I'm warmed up, now I'm starting to cook and turn lap times. But then the race is over by the time I catch everybody again.
Right.
So I definitely
Yeah,
want to.
that's kind of the same thing with me. My fastest laps usually my last 2 laps.
Every time it's bothering me because it's like, man, like I'm tired, but why am I going faster?
Yeah.
But then it's like you find that groove. So I think next year I want to do some Azure because of that 25 minute
Yeah.
the GTO.
Yeah.
Because my goal is to do local rounds for Motor America.
Yep.
And I want to see what I can do when I got a little bit more laps and a little bit more time underneath
Gotcha.
myself.
So let me ask. I mean, you didn't think of like a middleweight bike or a small bike to start racing. You just straight to to the big
I
dog.
just I just jumped on it, man. I don't really I don't want to say I don't have a fear factor, but my fear factor is really minimal.
Mm,
And I was accustomed to riding big bikes already, so I didn't want to drop down because I already had an R1. So in my head, I was like, oh, I already have this bike. I might as well learn how to ride it.
right.
After I blew the motor, I was kind of like, I'm so used to riding 1000s. I really don't want to have to learn a different bike now. So I was like, I'm gonna just stay with it. So I just stuck with it. The interesting thing is now am curious about racing 600s.
Yeah.
So I think I want to try to do both and run the 1000 and 600s.
Yeah.
Just because they're lighter, they're fun. I It kind of tickle my fancy a little bit now.
Yeah.
But I would never not ride a big bike, like not
Gotcha.
race one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love.
I haven't. I haven't. I mean, I have a V4 that I took on a track at Jersey as a track day for the first time this year. Other than that,
Yeah.
it's my R6, and in 21 I got a KTM.
Okay.
I always wanted to work on like my braking markers and corner speed because and I was on my R6 and it was just I was always doing the same thing, like almost like just repetitive, you know what I mean, and so
Mhm.
going to a smaller bike, it forced me to keep the think about my body position because on a 43 horsepower bike, you can't be sitting up on a straight.
Yeah.
So you got to be
Yeah.
tucked. You got to be doing all the right things, and that forced me to get better. And it took me like 3 years, and it was like the end of 23. I was just like, okay, I think I want to go back to the R6 and race the R6 because it was just starting to feel like I got what I needed to get out of it. I'll still keep my
Yeah.
RCs because they're good bikes to train on.
Hmm.
But it definitely going on smaller bikes will definitely make you do all the right things because the horsepower, of the big bike can make up for a lot of things that you might not, be paying attention to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with that for sure. It is things that I feel like they help fine tune, and like that's what I want to see if I can kind of if I can learn how to ride my R1 kind of like a R6. Like I feel like that will be the maybe deciding factors a little bit. Of course I gotta use them slightly different,
Right,
but
right.
one just corner speed, like
Yeah.
just carrying such a higher corner speed instead of the point and shoot that I'm having to do now. Well, hop on the R6, run that a couple of times, learn that feeling of that speed, then see if I could slowly blend the two styles together to see if I can gain some more tenths, some more eighths, and
Yep.
maybe seconds at certain tracks on the R1.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you kind of have to do that. No, that's pretty impressive. And so so now you win the championship, regional championships in 21. I assume you got
Hmm.
bumped to an expert at that point for the following year and stuff like that. What was that
Hmm.
transition like for you now moving up? And you got the taste of being up front, so
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily translate when you first jump over into the expert category.
it doesn't. It doesn't. So definitely a lot faster. Definitely a lot faster. The racing was more competitive for sure. I never got past that close ever in my novice years of racing.
Mhm.
But also it kind of that time frame was a adjustment because a lot of things start happening in life, like mental battles, mental things. I got divorced, so that put on top of racing and not being out front,
Mhm.
like, was a lot for me. So I actually ended up pulling out, and I only did like 2 rounds in 22, and then I
Okay.
only did 1 round in 23. Then I think I did no rounds in 24 at all.
Wow.
So like it was just literally just took the time to mentally get right because I did some
Yeah.
track days.
Yep.
I definitely did a couple of track days in 20. Actually, no, in 22, I tried to get out there. I yard sailed Ballarat Road, Atlanta, completely tore the bike apart.
Wow.
Snapped my subframe, cracked my rims, fuel tank went flying. Down in 10A, coming in 10A, pushed the front.
You
Um,
just don't do low sides, huh?
Unfortunately, I don't. I don't think I have a single low side. I think all my wrecks have been high sides, unfortunately. But and yeah, so that kind of set me back. When I had to rebuild the bike,
Yeah.
so that took me out all of 22, and then 23, I tried to get back out there. Then I think I wrecked a couple of times also in 23. So I just knew mentally I wasn't okay.
Hmm.
So I stepped away from racing because the sport is dangerous enough. Last thing I need to be is out there without a clear mind.
Right. Right.
So I'm just now starting to, well, not just now, but got intentional about a year ago about my mental health and healing because I want to get back to racing. And now the groove is starting to come back. I'm starting to
Yeah.
see the colors again. I'm starting to trust myself on the bike. I'm starting to trust the bike. And now that's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
now I want to start doing the training and the track days and push for a full season next year because I actually feel like I'm genuinely in a good place for it now.
Yeah, no, the mental part is huge. That was it for me too, and it was like that for years for me. One, like I started riding twins and racing the SV, and then I switched to an inline, and
Hmm.
it like just revving 15,000, 16,000 RPMs was just weird for me
Yeah.
in the beginning, and so I hung out in last place for like 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
Then I had a bad crash, so I had a screw in my hand. So I had like a season where I wasn't really fit. But like the mental
Hmm.
part of that, just going through the races, you got your friends telling you you'll get it and stuff like that. But it's just a wall, and it's
Yeah.
easy to walk away in that situation because you have all the reasons to. But the best thing to do is to figure it out and get on the other side of it however you can, because then things are starting to open up and stuff like that. So that's a big part. So like what do you like, you know what are you doing for like training, on the physical side, on the bike side? Are you
Mhm.
doing besides track days? When you do track days, are you working on specific things when you get to the track? And even on the mental side, like, what are some of the things you're starting to do to kind of like, shift that mind into, being locked in, right? Because I assume it's really about just getting locked in once you get to the track, because that was hard for me in the beginning, because
Mhm.
I'll see, I'll see when I first started going to the racetrack, they look like gladiators, right? To me, even,
Yeah,
it's just like,
yeah.
there's a certain kind of, a thing about folks at the track. And at the time I didn't get it, and it was until years later, it's just kind of like, it's like going to war. You're just present,
Mhm.
and that's what that look is. You're just in the moment, because you can't be thinking about what you had for lunch last week or what you're going to do next
Right.
week. You literally just got to be in the moment. And it's, it's easy to say, but to be locked in for the whole weekend, is something to work at. So like, what are some of the things that you've been doing to try to get there?
Yeah, so I increased my gym. I'm basically in the gym right now almost 5 to 6 days a week. And just doing a lot of full body workouts, but not so much like big weights. Like I'm not trying to get huge. Like granted, it looks good, but it's all about muscle stamina
Yeah.
or muscle endurance for me. So like I normally would start with cardio, but I cycle. So I cycle for anywhere between 15 and 25 minutes and just kind of go immediately to my base rest pace. And I'm just spinning normally about 85 or 90 RPMs. And then I just hold it. Then I start bumping up my intensity to one, get my legs working up for those late laps when your
Mhm.
thighs start tightening up on you. And
Oh, yeah.
you got to push through it. And then from there, I just go a lot of core stability. Also, I do a lot of my core training is for the just overall stability of the core in itself.
Hmm.
A lot of back, a lot of forearms, just again to keep those muscles that you use a lot kind of going, hip flexors, and
Right,
things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and
Like I
you're
said, I
and you're
do.
on a big bike, so I'm just in here thinking like, for me, I'm like, yeah, but like you have to have way more strength to move that bike around than a middleweight bike, much less my KTM. I just can't. I don't have to fall asleep. As long as I don't fall asleep, I'm good.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because like right now, I think I'm the heaviest I've been my whole life, and I'm still light. I'm 170, like 171, 174.
Mhm.
So but even I just rode. I will say it is a lot easier now. Oh, I just rode 2 weekends ago at Roebling, and it was way easier to get the bike to where I wanted to go. So
Right.
I was like, okay, like this is beautiful. Compared to when I was racing in 21, I was like 145.
Yeah.
So um just still working with that though, so my body's not as tired,
Right.
is what I lock in on. um and then of course just upping my intake, just a lot of water, a lot of hydration, just healthier habits in life. Or
Hmm.
slot the tequila, hide that in a cabinet somewhere, pick up the water bottle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just it's that focus, and then just at the track, just creating the habits to for boundaries for myself. Like I want to get there, I want to socialize, I want to have fun, but I also got work to do.
Yeah.
So like creating these little compartments on when to move, when to socialize, when to lock in, when to make sure my bike is set up, when to make sure I got gas and so I don't run out of gas, and then I plug my tire warmers back up.
Oh yeah.
Like so I normally like my headphones are my trick at the track. Normally I'll keep monitoring what's going on. And I put my headphones on, and that's the start for me doing all my system checks. To like start walking through. And if I bring people with me, that's their sign to don't talk to me.
Yeah. Be alone.
Yeah, just leave me alone. I got stuff to do. Don't talk to me. Give me a minute. And after I'm done with it, I normally take one ear off. And that
Yeah.
one ear is like, okay, you guys can talk around now. I'm in a position to where I know I'm not going to mess something up. So
Right.
you can come talk to me,
How many times you check your tire warmers before a race?
bro. Like too many. Like I would see the light on, and I'm just still like, are you plugged in? Are you not? Let me touch you real fast.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
yeah, I
yeah.
check
You know,
all the
I've had
time.
I've had situations where like stuff get unplugged, stuff stop working. It's really like, it sounds crazy, but you kind of have to just keep checking, because you just, it's just, it happens.
It happens. It happens, dude. I swear one time I promised I put gas in the bike. but I took the fuel cap off and moved the gas can and never put the fuel in the bike.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
started socializing, so like that was when I was like, oh yeah, and I think my fuel light popped on like my second lap in the session or something. I was so mad.
Yeah, and
But
I don't even know if on that bike, because it's like I don't know if you'd get through another 4 laps when the light come on. Because I the same thing on my R6. I can probably get away with like probably 3 laps, but after that you're thinking about it. So now you're not even locked in. You know?
you're not locked in, and mine it limits you. So like it starts cutting your RPMs to like 10,000, 9,000 RPMs. You try to get past it and it goes and like yeah. So I can't even ride the bike anymore at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but just creating systems. Like I said, I ultimately know where I want to go. I know what I want to do, and with that, it's like if I'm not taking myself serious, how can I expect the world to take me serious or anyone else to take me serious?
Right.
So it's just making those sacrifices, making those intentional decisions to be like, it's 4:30 a.m. I do not want to get up to go to this gym, but I want to race, so let's
Yeah.
get up and go to this gym. So
Listen, man,
yeah.
racing has kept me in shape since 2015. So
Mm,
it's like that's the only reason why I cycle, I do my sit-ups to make sure all the ab workouts and stuff like that
yeah.
is because I want to go racing. That's purely it. And I know what it's like to not be in shape and race because I've had to pull myself. Like I'll sign up for 6 races in the weekend and only can do 4 because my muscles
Yeah.
can't hold me up on the bike anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it's tough. Like, granted, I think it's all just the condition. I remember my first session I did after I decided to start trying to go back for it, and my
Mhm.
legs were smoked out like 2 sessions in. Like my thighs were like clenched, like felt like I was about to catch a Charlie horse in both of them.
Yep.
And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
man, like what is this? Like it hasn't been that long, but it has been that long, bro. You came off the couch, So yeah, it's a lot, but it does translate over to like just normal life. Like you feel so much better, like
Yeah.
so much better, so much lighter. Your muscles are relaxed. You can stretch out good, So it helps me with a lot of things. So I correlate a lot of my physical conditioning to my mental as well.
Right.
So it helps me keeps my circle of me going around to keep me in a healthier place.
Right. So you talked about conditioning and that stuff. Now, like, how about like as far as like body position and just the intelligence side of the education side of racing and stuff like that. Your
Hmm.
eyes, using your eyes and stuff like that. Because it took me a while to look down the road and not look back. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I was always checking 3 spots. Breaking
yeah,
point, entry, exit. Like I'll check it like 10 times before I get to the apex.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's tough too to train. Because it is that habit of like retraining your eyes to always look ahead and then like quick scan, but you look ahead
Yeah.
always, right? And
Yeah.
then I'm a big body position guy. Like I have a kind of exaggerated body style. I'm completely off the bike. I'm down low. But with that is like timing, like understanding that, oh, cool. Yeah, if I drop that low coming into the corner, that I don't even need to be in that body position yet. Like, so it's like learning when it is I need to dig my body deep and why am I even digging my body deep? Like if I'm doing it to take a nice picture, that's cool, but the guy's gonna run me on the outside because I have no speed.
Right.
So it's like figuring out that, oh, that is a timing me. So I need to come down and low. And while I'm doing that, I need to be pushing the bike up on the fat part of the tire and getting on that throttle at the same time.
Right.
So it's like clicking in and understanding when to do that, when to tread off some brakes. Oh, when do I need to dive on it? Am I trying to make a pass right now? If I am, when do I want to leave these brakes off so I can kind of get that position? And then luckily for track days, I have a lot of opportunities to work on those things.
Yeah.
So I normally break down my track days. I work on one section at a time to try to figure it out, and then I sacrifice the rest of the lap. So if I feel like I'm struggling on the back half of Roebling, I'm gonna sacrifice my turn one, my turn two, and I'm gonna get myself set up for turn three, four, or five, and then I'm gonna relax for six, seven, eight, nine, and then I'm gonna crank back up again, and then I'm like, okay, I got that. Now let's add that to six, seven, eight, nine. Let's complete the full back section and relax the first half. Okay, got those down. Now let's try to string them all together, and that's literally how I like to attack my track days now.
Right.
Um, I
And
just
and
break it
are
down.
you training with people or are you using just the internet and what resources do you have to help you with this?
Honestly, a lot of my stuff is I do ask some questions like to my buddies and try to get their feeling and what they got going on. A lot of it is video recording and just kind of going back and looking at the footage. Did I really break at the brake marker? Did I break early? I broke early. And pulling the data off the bike. Trying to see when throttle's open, when it's closed. Um, and then for the most part, it's just kind of again at the track. The people that I know that are quicker than me,
Hmm.
I ask them for the toe. So
Okay.
like, hey, I'm struggling in this particular section of the part of the track, and I'm unsure why. Like, do you mind sitting behind me for a lap or two, and then pull me along so I can try to figure it out, and I just collab that way. Then it's all just mental from there. And then it's mentally like the calculations, and then holding myself accountable. Like, okay, bro, like you gotta send it. Whatever happens, but you gotta send it.
You
And
gotta, yeah. It's tough to override the brain, you know.
oh yeah, that is for sure.
So let me ask. I mean, you when you decided in Hawaii that you wanted to go racing, and now that you've gotten a taste of it, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago? Things that you've learned now that you may not have thought about then.
Uh, to take it more serious. Like just literally take it more serious in every aspect of life. You can't just show up at the track and be fast. It takes a lot of dedication. You got to make the sacrifices. And just give yourself grace and be patient. I think those things will all just, for me in particular, helps with a clearer mind, which helps the actual riding portion goes a lot better. And so it's just be consistent.
Yeah, okay. So so I mean, I haven't asked about like do you now trailer your bike to the track and stuff like that? What's that been like, and that experience like? Because for me, I was like taking the U-Haul trailer at the beginning with my
Mhm.
Audi wagon, and just went up to like I was able to get like a 5x8 trailer,
Yeah.
and always running out of space, and now I got an 18x8 trailer, so and I'm already running out of space with that. So like how has that been like, as much as the financing part of it that you want to talk about, because that's the biggest part of racing, being able to,
Yeah.
to finance it. And as you know, there's a lot of there's fast people that can race in Motor America, but it's just the finance. So like
Right.
how are things for you in getting through all that?
Finances are definitely the biggest storm you got to navigate. It's not a cheap man sport at all. Like between the bike, the transportation. Like I got a 1,500 pickup truck. As soon as I hooked the trailer onto it, my gas mileage immediately dropped from 14 to 7.
Yep.
So like that in itself, I'm like, all right. So now I'm paying double the gas to get there, then hotel costs, then tires, and then more gas for the bike or the generator.
Mhm.
So it is that planning. It's like, oh, cool. Some of my buddies might want to go out this week, but I want to race. So sorry,
Right.
buddies. Like I can't really go out. Then just the maintenance on the trailer, make sure it's good and up to date, and your electrical connections are working. It's definitely a lot to navigate, for sure. Um, you know, it's just them making the sacrifices. Like I do tell people up front, like, oh man, I want to race, and I just be like, you might want to do track days. Unless you're willing to make that financial commitment, like stick to track days, because track days are just more affordable. Like when you start racing, you got so much equipment. You start chasing the points, then
Yeah.
your tires, then you're
You're in
blowing through
that big
tires,
bike
and not,
too, so you're going through tires.
man. And now you want to win because you're racing three guys that are fast, but you want to win. It's like, dang, this is the last. I need that fresh rubber on there, so you go get another tire just to make sure you got the grip to keep up.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely expensive, but honestly, I tell people the most expensive or the best thing you can do, no matter what the cost is, pay for your gear. Like make sure your gear's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care what you think. Don't you come out there that Sedici helmet? Like buy you a real helmet.
Yep.
Buy you real gear. Buy you real leathers.
Yep.
Spend the money on the boots and the gloves. Of coming from a guy that has many times recently, more than I like to say. Oh, I'm happy I invested in my gear because like I don't have suits that tear open no more. Like
Right,
I had
right.
a pretty bad high side. I landed on my helmet and cracked it. Multiple places cracked it. Cool. I was concussed, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like so it's kind of like, yeah, if that was any cheaper of a helmet or any cheap helmet at all, that thing would have shattered. So definitely just guide people properly. Like take your time. I do tell people when they start off to get little bikes because the tires last longer.
Dude, last night on my KTM, I ran a whole I don't know 10 rounds on a same front.
Bro, I'm telling you that's a beautiful thing, man. Like I'd be lucky to get through a solid weekend on one rear tire.
Yeah,
Like
no,
at a track day
yeah,
pace. The race pace, like I got two races out of two, maybe that third race is gonna be real sketchy.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I see it. I see the thousands. Like you guys go through tires. When you're fast, you're going through tires.
Oh
It's
yeah.
that's it. You know what I mean? So, but it's part of it. As I
Hmm.
was told, tires are still cheaper than keeping on some worn tires and sending it. So, because
Exactly.
that bill is going to be bigger. Um, nice, and so next year you're coming back out. You're going to be running somewhere or probably some Azra stuff as well, and we
Hmm.
should talk because I like to do some indoor races. This year I did the Saparano at
Okay.
Jennings
Yeah.
back in February. So it's like 2 3 hour races and 1 5 hour races.
Wow.
So you can do it on. I think the biggest bike you can do it on is like a lightweight bike, so like R7 or R660. You can do it
Okay.
like I think you can do it on an R6, but you don't get points or anything like that. I think you can do it like on like Aprilia 457, but you don't get points. You can race though,
Okay.
but not get you won't get anything as far as for the trophy.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. I mean, I only did I did like half-hour stints on it, but that was cool to do because it's just it's like you're pushing your body. It's like 6 laps, 8 laps is one thing. Like if you get a chance to do the GTO or the GTUs and stuff like that, and it's just like I just did 24 minutes. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
the countdown is when the pit opens. So if there's red flags or anything, the clock is still ticking. It doesn't stop.
Oh, okay.
In Loudon, I think some places the clock stop, but other places just keeps running. So, you
Okay.
know, if there's no red flags or anything, you get a lot of laps. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's really good to challenge yourself, and also you just learn to track more. You just get more competitive and stuff like that. So yeah, so as you're saying, so you do some indoor races and stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, actually, I wanted to do a few endurance rounds too. Again, just for the seat time. I want to really know what it feels like to start pushing those deep laps where your body starts fatiguing. You got to literally consciously lock in mentally and be like, all right,
Yeah,
hey, bro, you're tired, but just figure out a slight adjustment real quick. Maybe find your little back off pace and don't be at 100%, right at like 75. So I want to know what that feels like. And honestly, I want to catch them at if there's any endurance rounds like at Road Atlanta. I don't know if they do them at Barber. I want to try to find them. Um,
yeah. I
because
don't know.
those are the,
Go ahead.
no, you're good. Those are the two tracks that I want to race Motor America for. I
Okay.
know I'm not going to chase the full season of it,
Yeah.
but the local rounds for me are Road Atlanta and Barber. So I definitely want to be competitive for the Stock 1000 class in those two places. So that's where I want to get a lot of seat time at in the next year or two, so I
Yeah.
can try to get out there.
I looked at where it's scheduled because they do 4 indoor races. I think I know that it was one at Roebelin, but I don't remember where the
Hmm.
rest were. And Azra, they don't go to Barbara. They went to Road Atlanta last year for the first time.
Okay.
But so I don't know if they I didn't check their schedule this year to see if they're going back. But I know they do that Roebelin. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's I think it's like 2 hours or I forget how many laps or something, but it's over 50 laps. And there's a
Okay.
couple of people that do it by themselves. And I like one year I put it do it at CMP, and I put it next to somebody who did it, and he's just like, when I get fatigued, I just don't use the brakes anymore. So I was like, what?
What?
He just and again, I think you might just find a pace where you probably just downshift in and
Yeah.
and not pushing beyond. And but the CMP and Roebling, it's they don't have long straightaways, so
Yeah,
at the end of the day, on a big bike, it's not too bad, so it's not like Jersey, you might get up to 160, 170 in Jersey.
yeah. You gonna need them brakes.
So you're gonna need something there. So nice, man. That's awesome. I mean, we could talk all a long time about this stuff, but we're coming up on that hour. So I mean, I wanna wrap it up. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Tell folks how they can find you and connect with you on social media.
Yes, sir. So Instagram is Sir John Hampton underscore 728. That is what I am on mostly. But also on Facebook is just Sir John Hampton. I use both those platforms quite heavily. And on YouTube, I do also believe it is Sir John Hampton 728 as well. And there'll be a little bit more content coming out on another page that's been a kept secret, but it's coming out valid RPM. That is going to be on IG as well. That's going to be a big part of why I get to race and the impact that I want to create for the community too coming up.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear it. Sir John Hampton, man, I appreciate you coming on. My name is Rex 45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. Peace.